Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to Tai Chi to the People. And I'm Coach Jan. We have Sam here. I'm in LA, Sam's in Philippines, and Sam just asked this fantastic question about the Wu style and about the chin movement. And some of my videos you've seen me say, keep your chin down because it's very similar to boxing, protecting your head. But there's also a moment in Wu style where you use the chin just like a wrestler would to press on your opponent's body. Today, we're going to talk about that. So in some Wu style forms, you might see that the chin is out on a regular basis, and they're in this A-frame. You guys know the A-frame I've talked about many times, which is straight line from the heel to the top of the head, nose over the knee over the big toe. That's your A-frame. Boom. And Wu Gong Yi, if you look at the classic posture, you'll see his head up. And I've made notes on that because a big part of this channel is to talk about consistently evolving the Tai Chi system, because Tai Chi is really an approach rather than a style of fighting. It's really an approach to martial arts, and it's an approach to moving through reality, physical reality. And that approach in and of itself is the gateway to other modalities that have even deeper experiences. And so, like, before getting lost on that rabbit hole, how do we, if you want to do martial arts, you have to look at the science of fighting. And the science of fighting, we know efficiently, keep your hands up, keep your, some people call them 11s, a 1 and a 1, keep the 11s up and protect your head. And so if you're sticking out your chin, you're probably making a target for your opponent if they're smart enough to look at the different points where you can knock someone out or turn the, hit the button, so to speak. And you want to minimize that. Additionally, not just for protecting yourself, but in terms of throwing the momentum forward and up, which is part of what we want to do with our pushes. Pushes, when you're doing your pushes and push hands, you're really never pushing straight through the opponent. If you're pushing on a shoulder, you're turning the other shoulder. So you're taking one thing to give you another option. If you're pushing on both shoulders, doing both hands, you're not pushing straight back. You're pushing someone intentionally forward and up into the corner. As a matter of fact, right where my finger's pointing at a wall is a great target for where you want to push your opponent, because you want to roll their shoulders over the hips. So the great thing about dropping the head is you help to give yourself that trajectory. The trajectory, I'm not sure why I'm hearing. See, I'm just going to mute you for a second because I'm hearing a little feedback. So maybe that's me. Maybe it is me. Nope. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, great. So head forward.
I'll turn it off, my mic.
Okay, great. Thank you. So dropping the head down and keeping the eyes forward. In other words, keeping the straight line from the top of the head through down to the tailbone. You're helping to give yourself this forward and upward trajectory. Boom, here. And even if you're pressing forward, there's still a sense of upward because of my posture, the angle of my back right now. And we've talked about this before, but I'm recently studying Kempo officially now. With Shaolin American Self-Defense Academy. I've done a bunch of videos with Sensei Donnie Jeffcoat here in North Hollywood and his wonderful team. And they're amazing with language. One of the challenges we have as a Tai Chi community is that there's so many things lost in translation. And we have these amazing, wonderful books like this, like the I have one right here, I sure do. Like the Tai Chi Chuan, like the internal tradition, fantastic book. And the essence of Tai Chi Chuan, which I also think I have here. Actually, I thought this was it. It's actually my favorite book. I like it way better than the one I just pulled out. But I just got it for one of my students, Zoe, and gave it to her for Christmas. And we have these amazing books, but they're very poetic. And the challenge with the poetry is that a lot is going to be left up to interpretation. And so therefore we have lexicon that is different, even in America, of how we interpret biomechanics, Tai Chi, and what's most efficient, et cetera. And by not having shared lexicon, we are a lot of times repeating challenges that someone else has already met and solved and has a better solution. And that can be really tough for the ego to think to yourself that, hey, someone else has a better way of doing something than I do. And maybe I should listen to that person who's got a better way of doing it. So, and I'm not saying that I have the better way. I have some better ways for sure, but I also have, that's why I have, like, world championship titles. But there are people that have better solutions than I do. And so I always have to keep that in mind, that there are things that I know that there are things that I don't know, and therefore I have to be open to receiving that information. So getting back to this practical moment here, straight line heel to the top of the head. This is going to help you brace, with Kempo thinking, help you brace for pressure and pushing. So I thought that was really cool because no one really articulated that for me in Tai Chi. I was always taught that the heel is the anchor, and the back heel, it allows you always to pull back into something and to really bring your posture, bring yourself back to safety. If this is where you're engaging opponent and you come back into safety, then the opponent has to come to you. Now, of course, there's the yin and yang with that. So if you come into safety, but the opponent follows you, it's no longer safe. So then you have to brace yourself again. And if you're doing big step, you're going to likely have a problem if you've retreated this much, because then you have to gain back this ground, unless you're really flexible with moving the opponent off from your back leg, which, folks like my father are very, very skilled at that. But that, again, from our strategic standpoint, the U.S. Tai Chi push hands team, you fight for that front leg, you stay on the front leg, you still use that back heel when you need to. So bringing it back to the concept of the chin and the pressing, if you're a wrestler, you probably have better perspectives than I do on how to use the chin if you're a traditionally trained wrestler, on how to use the chin, how to use the head, on manipulating the body, your opponent's body, and pressing the chin into the body. So if you are a wrestler and you have some notes on this, always feel free to share. I'm very, very open to hearing these things. But here is the Wu style version of this. And this is where Sam and I got into this conversation. So the Wu style has this amazing move, and I do this move as well. And it's right toward the end in my version of the form, which is from Sifu Kip Tong, who studied with under his father, who was a partner of Wu Gong Yi. And so here we go. We have our press, or should I say, we have our high horse, and with the fists. I have two hollow fists, right? And so one high horse can be like this, or pat the high horse like this, but instead it's a hollow fist. So we're doing two hollow fists, come around, the fists remain. So this is very similar to bear paws in jiu-jitsu in Greco-Roman. So you have these, the hands are staying with these hollow fists, uncover the elbow. It means someone's trying to control the pressure here on the arm. So you uncover, back fist, and this back fist is not necessarily just a back fist to hit someone in the face. You could be rolling down pressure with the elbow and the forearm, and pressing, step forward. And now here's the chin movement. I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to roll, just like in our white crane spreads his talons exercise from Neigong, but I'm going to do it on the side rather than downward. I'm going to roll on the lower back of the opponent. I'm going to gently pull the pressure, their weight into themselves. So the weight's going back, I'm pulling it up and in, I'm scooping it. And then I'm putting my chin, I'm pressing on their face or their forehead and putting my chin on the collarbone. So you're rolling the opponent back using part of your face and your chin. Really important moment. It's really fantastic. And it's really wonderful against taller opponents as well. My buddy Hinton Wells, who you guys, some of you might know from Li Tai Lang's New York International Sancho team, which I fought on as well. My fight teammates, he's here now, and hopefully he'll make a cameo in this video. But it's great because Rami's much taller than me. Hinton Wells is much taller than me. So pressing right here. Here's the posture that you see at the Wu Gong Yi Tai Chi, right here. Really important, really powerful moment. And so Sam and I were talking about differentiating between when to do it intentionally and when it might become habitual. If you're consistently doing it in your Wu style form, it might become a habit of you sticking your head up. And if you do any other martial arts, it can be really detrimental for you to have this habit of going forward and sticking your head up. Because again, getting hit, getting knocked out sucks. You don't want that. and fun video of me getting knocked out by accident by Max Chen for a Doritos commercial, and you'll find it online. And it's actually on video. I go right down, and it's because he hits my chin, but that was an accident for a stunt. So hands up, of course, chin down, of course, and if you're doing moments like this and looking, boom, coming up, that's great as well. These are fantastic moments in your form, but I'm really focusing more so about the brush knee. For the brush knees, I recommend keeping your chin down, keeping the spine straight all the way through, or minimizing the curve. And this is something I actually have to talk about as well. We're going to bridge just for a moment here in terms of the curve on the spine. Once again, my journey is consistently happening. And I'm sharing it as I go. And I grew up doing Negong with Sifu Kitong. And one of the main notes was to remove the curve from the spine, dropping the tailbone down, imaginary string lifts you up, and having the back as flat as you possibly can as you do your Negong exercises. That being said, and I know that there's value there, I felt it myself, but there is too much of that. I currently have and I'm making a separate video of this, but I had an MRI done last week, and I have a slight tear in a disc in my lower back, in my like L5, S1 area. And this slight tear could be from a car accident I was in last year, my first one ever, but it also could be from stunt work, it could be from anything. And I'm in the process this year of really focusing on not only healing that, but deepening my understanding of natural body mechanics, the thinking and the philosophies behind and the reality behind the movement of chi and energy in the body, and how minimizing tension in the body helps to increase the circulation. So the reasoning behind dropping the tailbone here consistently has been that by having a more straight spine, the energy flows more readily. However, so much gets lost in translation when it comes to Tai Chi, especially when it's converted to English, or converting from one culture to the other, from China to anywhere else, can be a challenge. And especially if there's so many different histories. And one history of karate is that it was taught by Kung Fu practitioners in Japan, but certain postures, for example, a hanging leg stance or the cat stance, were taught imperfectly, quote unquote. And again, this is a version of history. I'm not saying that this is necessarily true, but these are part of the stories that are told. And so that the Japanese posture would be inferior to the Chinese posture. And whether this is true or not, there are many different theories and histories along these lines. And I think it's really important to recognize how, again, things can get lost in translation. So I'm working on my consistency of dropping the tailbone completely has put me in a position where I have a weaker lower back in that area, like specifically in the area that I focused for years since I was a teenager in softening. So I'm doing my best to be as transparent as possible as I make adjustments in my coaching for aspects of Negong, etc., so that the natural curves of the body are still maintained while minimizing the tension in them. So the natural curve, meaning that this tailbone will go out rather than dropping it down, then the tailbone will go out and you will see this natural curve here and maintain this base for the body. I'm very fortunate to have my yoga teacher, Joseph Penna, who I've mentioned in the past, gave me a mind-blowing breakdown of the spine today while I was training earlier this morning. Here in Los Angeles, he's in New York. If you're in New York, go see him. He's also one of the greatest myofascial release masseuses in the world. So I highly recommend taking some time with Joseph for your own martial practice, for augmenting your martial practice and understanding the body. He's a genius. So, so I am going to be working on maintaining the gentle curve in the lower back. the gentle curve, all the gentle curves in the spine. I'm going to be working on this, on maintaining this. So again, I've said in the past, don't tuck, and I still mean that. And Grandmaster William C.C. Chen talks about dropping the tailbone straight down as if you have a weight on it, which I have appreciated in the past because it's so similar to the dropping of the tailbone that Sifu Keep-Tong talked about. And I'm going to have a conversation with Sifu Keep-Tong because he's my family, he's my Sifu, about these notes that I'm getting, because I always compare notes. I was I'll tell this story while we hold Embracing the One. Again, I'm holding it with the curve. For several years, my separate Tai Chi and yoga teachers would teach me similar principles at the same time. And I always appreciated that synchronicity in my life, where Sifu Keep-Tong would start, who educated me and my father on the importance of the waist, not the hips, but the waist as the trunk, and moving the waist to generate certain movements. And then after years of talking about the waist, he started talking about the hip. And he said, let it whip from the hip. So the hip power is very different than waist power. They are not the same power. They're not the same drivers. Now, all the power, doesn't matter if you use no body at all and it's just coming from the hand, all the power is still generated by idea and by breath work. So conducted through the breath work and visualization, pushing through. So if you, whatever you want to use, hip and waist, whipping, all of that comes into play, but still catalyzed by idea, breath work, visualization. So I share that because this moment in my life right now, the challenge that I'm dealing with in healing my back in this way, and taking a year, at least a year to do this. I will be coaching intensely this year, and planning right now on returning, or for the very first time, I was going to personally return to push hands competition as a competitor, which I have not competed officially since 2010. So I was going to return this year, but instead I'm going to be coaching this year. And hopefully I'll be able to return in 2024 for the Tai Chi World Cup in Taiwan. So, but I will be training a new team, a new US team that pretty much anyone is welcome to join if you're really willing to put the work in. And I will be sharing more about the process of how I'm going to distribute the training from the wonderful library of drills, strategies, and more that myself, my father, and Coach Dan Caulfield and Coach Josh Waitskin developed over the years on the U.S. Tai Chi Push Hands team. So this is happening. It's happening this year, and our first event will likely be the Battle of Columbus. And it's not an official announcement, but it is. I am letting everyone know that we are working toward being there in March. So that's 2 months away. So let's do some uplifting heaven. Inhaling out. Exhaling that. Another note for my own recovery has been from my yoga teacher of doing the traditional Shaolin horse stance with the thighs parallel to the ground. And we've done some of this in the past on our Tai Chi to the people training. So I have not done this all year. I'm picking up my pants a little bit so that I can actually get into the posture. And I've been in physical therapy too for the back. So you're watching me get into this the first time in a while. And the thing that I have to be mindful of is really letting the spine naturally curve back and holding that posture down, down, down. So the ideal is to have the thighs parallel to the ground. As a matter of fact, one of the ways you can help train yourself, and that I'll be working on right now, is you can take, I got this broom right here, taking this little top off, and you can take a stick and just put it in the crease of the thighs, right where the pelvis meets the femur bone. And this is helpful. Just took this part off. I have this flat stick. And you put it here and you sit, sit, sit. And you're doing your best to get as low as possible. And side, sit, sit, sit. And hold. So I highly recommend doing, you don't want to push it too much in the beginning, but do this a few times. Do it on the other side. Again, get yourself a nice stick. And it's really, really helpful and fun. And we'll do it 3 times each side. And if you find that the leg's burning, you can take a moment and stretch, pull it back, inhale deep, exhale. You want to inhale to the lower dantian and exhale, push that color visualization down, soften the knee, and then inhale deep, exhale, lift the toe to the ceiling. While you're doing this, try to keep a square between the hips and the shoulders. You can even hold one hand like this if you don't have the stick in your hand. Or you can also hold the stick in the center to remind you of your center line awareness. Also very helpful. Being able to maintain the center line awareness. And of course, the stick is in front of me. The center line awareness is in the center of my being, in my body. Inhale me up. Now bring it back. And do your best to keep push the visualization through the heel, straightening the leg through the heel. Imaginary string lifts you up by the head. Inhale into the belly. Then exhale, drop the knee down. Inhale deep. Exhale, bring the toe up and drop down. And let's do one more on the other side. Placing right on where the hip pelvis meets the femur, and sit. And coming out. And again, I recommend just going right into the stretch. Inhale deep. Exhale, pull. And switch. And stretching right away is super important as well. Like do the exercise stretch within 45 seconds. You want to maximize the work in the muscles. And you're maximizing what you're really doing here is you're getting 30% more muscle increase when you stretch. And that stretch has to happen, in that 45 seconds to a minute window. You want to give yourself a little bit of rest as well. So inhale deep, up if you have it. Exhale, inhale deep. And I will say that with the physical therapy that I'm doing, I also am taking it more easy in these coming weeks as I rebuild strength from a very intense end of the year in 2022 and building up for a fantastic 2023. And I'm, of course, wishing all of you guys a phenomenal 2023 as well. So with that said, we'll do a few more exercises just to work on certain mechanics. And one thing I want to share with you guys is if you've seen, I'm taking today's episode to make notes on corrections or augmentations to various things I've shared in the past. So one thing that I think is super important is going to be the Tai Chi poem, which little kids, it's great for children. And I think it's fantastic for adults as well, because you can feel like you've done your Tai Chi, even if you only do a minute or two. Sometimes that's all people have for a day. So Here we're going to adjust the beginning. In the beginning, I was saying you have a big watermelon, and that's actually incorrect. That is the ending posture, not the ending and the beginning. The beginning is going to be the opposite way. So we're going to go with feet, heels together, and my feet are facing out this way, 45. And we're going to inhale up, 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 up. And the hands are going to go up as much as you can. Exhale, and you have a big watermelon. So you're coming up from the center and creating that watermelon. So once again, that's the main note here is adjusting here. Inhaling up, you have a big watermelon. And notice that I'm softening the knees here. You cut it in half. Inhale deep. I'm stepping with my left on purpose. Normally you step with your right and you do the masculine first. I'm doing the left, the feminine first. So you give half to her. Inhale. Another note is that the inhalation is as if you're holding a tray and coming in. Now, this is not a move that I do much in push hands, in Tai Chi, but I do, let me use my language more intentionally. I don't do this move much up here at this level of my heart. Where I do it is here. And here, palm on someone's elbow as they're pushing into my bicep or my chest. And this is part of the rooting drill. Inhaling, I'm rooting, I'm rooting, I'm rooting. I'm redirecting, creating, some people might call it neutralizing, but I'm creating a pressure circuit. Boom, creating this pressure circuit. The more they press, the more I expand, the more I'm redirecting the pressure back into the body. So here, exhaling, give half to her, inhale, and I have my pressure circuit posture right here. And I step and exhale, I give half to him, but he doesn't want it. And I create that pressure circuit posture. And then exhaling down just a bit, inhaling up. So I take the big watermelon and I eat it all by myself. Nom, 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 nom. So I'll do the whole poem again with the adjustments. The two adjustments are the clarified beginning and the clarified pullback. I was doing all my other pullbacks like this, which is similar to the pushing drill. Boom, drop, push, drop, push, this push hands drill, where you're rolling the pressure off of you and pushing back. So I was doing that for all of the moves, but it really only happens twice in the form rather than 4 times. So here's the clarified form, inhaling up. You have big watermelon. You cut it in half. You give half to her. But she doesn't want any. So you give half to him. But he doesn't want it. So you eat it all by yourself. And the breath work, inhaling up onto your toes. Exhaling, push the color visualization down, soften the knees. Inhale, turn to your left. Exhale, chopping right down the center line. Inhale, notice that my middle finger is as high as my nose. Inhale, I'm lifting the pressure up in my forearms and elbows, inflating the triceps. Shift the weight to the right, step with the left, exhale. I'm pushing 45 degrees on the 45 line. Inhale, draw the pressure back. The breath is pulling my lower dantian like a string. Similar to yoga, when you suck in the belly button and pull through the spine, except this is the visualization of the color, almost like a ball of color being pulled back, rather than the muscles being pulled back. The body moves with the ball of color. So here, inhale, the ball of color is pulled back. You have your body mechanic up here to redirect pressure. I pull my leg in, so I step. I actually lift off the ground. I step next to my other foot, shift the weight, and I push off. Exhale, push the color out. Inhaling deep. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. A few other notes on this, again, helping to clean up from last year. We just talked about a few minutes ago how when you do pushes, you're normally pushing on an angle, not just forward. And that's just forward. Obviously, I'm pushing forward. So I want to clarify that this form, as I'm sharing it, as I'm practicing it more myself, one of the things that I'm doing every week is I'm adjusting the form, the mechanics, deepening my understanding of them, and making adjustments to add more martially viable approaches to a particular moment. It's very nice, the feeling I get here, it's very nice just to focus on the energy. Inhale, draw the color in, turn, exhale, just wash the energy through. It's so nice, just a great feeling. And while I love that great feeling, I also want to make sure that if I'm repeating something as often as I do with my Tai Chi and martial arts, etc., that I'm repeating it in a way that is giving me the maximum benefit, mind, body, spirit. So if this is not a viable push, that means I need to find the viable version of that push, or which means change the physical biomechanic, or I need to adjust my thinking on this exercise and moment to make sure that I'm doing something that I can adjust my mind to an application where it does make sense. And that way I can do it more intentionally. So that's my personal approach to any move in Tai Chi or in martial arts in general. I have to make sense of it somehow so that I can practice it, with the strongest energy possible. So sharing that with you, because I want to make sure that it doesn't seem like I am being hypocritical with my words, because yes, pushing forward and up, that's Wu style. Pushing forward and up, that's reverse breathing Yang style, which I also said we're going to change the name of that. Or pushing forward and up, Lohabafa. The Yang style mixed with the Lohabafa water boxing, so that roll in the lower back and the upper body. And that roll that I talked about in the past, that I was talking about earlier, saying, hey, I want to not tuck as much. The tucking is not a bad thing. It's a bad thing if you do it too much. And one of my challenges is I've done too much of it, and it's a weakened part of my spine, so I have to make some adjustments away from it. However, that does not mean that there are not moments where you do these things, and knowing when to do them is so important. So there are moments where you're going to push these hips forward and roll them forward while you roll the upper back forward, and you're going to do that dragon style kung fu mixed with the Lohabafa roll, and you're going to do it all at the same time. You're going to get the upper and bottom lower pressure moving into your opponent. Very, very powerful stuff, especially when you're walking somebody out of a ring. So, one more time. Big water belly. Cut it in half. You have to hit him, but he doesn't want me. So you have to hurry, but she doesn't want me. So you do it all by yourself. No. Okay, we're going to finish up with some upper body stretches. And this upper body stretches, I really want to make sure that you guys really get the concept of, similar to Shaolin Kung Fu. I love the coordination of the hand and eye in Shaolin Kung Fu. For example, if I flip and I look, Wushu really does this really well. So notice the intensity of my look. My head snaps as my hand snaps, and my eye looks right at this middle finger of my lead hand. That intensity and coordination, you want to deepen that. I recommend deepening it. It's a very wonderful and spectacular experience where you can find the smaller moments of when and how to do that. Those in your form. Boom, right here. Little moments where you might be creating just little moments of very intentional coordination, breath work, visualization, and not just visualization in your mind of the breath work, but your hand-eye coordination. All this working together is going to intensify your experience of your Tai Chi. So here's a moment where we can just work on that ourselves. And we're going to inhale and spin this hand up, while the other hand's going to spin the opposite direction. We're going to keep our feet shoulder width apart and parallel. This is a great exercise. I love doing this. And it's been very helpful for me in the past when I've gotten some shoulder injuries, like some shoulder compression, and I've needed to expand my shoulders, the joints, and I'll really allow some more circulation to get in. So we're going to keep the hands out. And a straight line as much as possible through almost, if you've seen the Shaolin postures, the drills where you're pushing the walls apart, not as intense, but just imagine a line going from your one middle finger to the other to the shoulders. The feet shoulder width apart parallel. Inhale, draw the color in. And turn one up and the other one twist the opposite direction. And both palms will be up. Exhale and shift to the other side. Now this one's turning up and this one's turning the opposite direction, corkscrewing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So while I'm doing this coordination of inhalation and exhalation, I'm pushing, exhaling. If I'm inhaling here, I'm pulling. If I'm inhaling, I'm pulling the color through my finger like straws. Inhale, drawing it into the lower dantian through the arm. And if I'm exhaling, I'm pushing from the lower dantian out. And it should be like a drill. It should be drilling forward, the breath work and visualization, drilling forward. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Exhale. And then once you do this enough times, maybe 6 times on each side, then you're going to reverse the breathing. So if you've exhaled here, then you're going to inhale and deepen it and exhale. Inhale, draw the color in. Exhale, push it out. Inhale, draw it in. Exhale, push it out. Inhale, draw it in. Exhale, push it out. Now, I'll say this as well. When it comes to weight distribution, we've talked in the past about weight on the heels. And that keeps you passive. We talked about weight in the balls of foot and the big toe. They keep you more aggressive. And so for this exercise, I do recommend being in between the heel and the ball of the foot. And on each side. Rick Myers, an amazing martial artist, the foremost historian of martial arts cinema in the world, is also a Tai Chi practitioner. And he talks often about keeping his weight on that area between the ball of the foot and the heel. It's right in between. So I'm sharing this because I don't often do that. He practices most of his forms there. Grandmaster William C.C. Chen, the last time I trained with him in summer of 2021, was very adamant about using that area as like a suction cup, because you have that area of the foot that's off the ground, and softening it into the ground and taking it back up, suctioning it up and down prior to your weight distribution meeting the ball of the foot and the big toe all the way. So a suctioning down and then inhaling, coming up and bouncing forward and up. So I'm saying, because of my adjustments in my spine that I'm attempting to make, I'm finding it easier to focus on that area right now and maintain my alignment while also doing the work. And notice that I am leaning in my upper body. I am leaning, and I'm leaning intentionally. There are times where I would probably just keep my body very, very still and only turn, but I want to really stretch. I want to really stretch. And I want to stretch up here. I want to stretch in the intercostal muscles. I want to stretch in the rib cage in ways that it doesn't normally stretch. So I want to intentionally open up, stretch intentionally. And again, like the more you breathe into it, the more you're going to feel it. The next exercise after here is going to be rotating the thumbs back. We've done this in the past, and opening the rib cage as if it's fingers, opening here. And this is a wonderful exercise. Jordan Forth, U.S. Tai Chi push hands team, teammate of mine, amazing physical trainer as well. He's in Hawaii. Highly recommend looking him up. Jordan Forth came up with this exercise, and inhaling, rotating back, opening the rib cage, and weight on the center of the feet. Inhale, open, drawing the color in, palms to the ceiling, thumbs rotating back. Exhaling, thumbs rotating down. So here, thumbs rotating down, and I'm collapsing the chest. My chin's coming to my chest, and I'm collapsing down. Now look, my thumbs are flipping. And if you were doing Aikido, for example, if there are moves where they'll turn the hand and the other practitioner will jump with and fall. And so you want to have that same kind of sense of torque with the hand and the body moving, meaning that my thumb is twisting back, my palm twists, my elbow twists, my shoulders twist, and I'm stretching the upper back by collapsing down. And then I'm opening it up, going the other way. And I'm doing my best to keep my fingers reaching directly out to the sides. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Inhale, draw the color in. Exhale, drop down. Inhale, open up. Exhale, drop down. Inhale up. And I recommend doing your best to be, I'm being aware really right now of my lower back, because the last thing I want to do is tuck in when I go forward. So I want to maintain my posture here, and I'm isolating the muscles that I might have programmed myself to work in coordination. So again, that's part of my healing process. I will do a few more. Again, here, more intentional. Inhale, open up. Exhale, drop. Inhale, open up. Exhale. Inhale, open up. Exhale. Two more. Inhale, open up. Rib cage opens. Exhale. Inhale, open up. One other note, when you open up, another helpful area to engage is the shoulder blade. And if you remember Ben Sanchez, who has an amazing Tai Chi bone setting, gave us the note of imagining the shoulder blades pulling down, meaning there's weights hanging on them. So the shoulder blades pull down and help to gently lift the chest. So I find this a very helpful visualization when I'm opening the chest like fingertips, the rib cage like fingers, to have that counterbalance on the other side of the dropping of the shoulder blades as the chest opens up. So exhaling, my back is rotating upward while my chest is collapsing. But then inhale, my shoulder blades are dropping down, my collarbone lifts up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And this is one of those moves where there's so much muscular and bone coordination that I do recommend spending time to really connect to the visualization of the breath work. Meaning that if you're focused on the lower dantian or the middle dantian, if you're focused on this area, breathing into the middle dantian, which is fine. You can totally do that into the heart space. But just make sure that you still maintain your color visualization. That visualization is so easily lost in my experience. It's so easily lost. And this is something I do all the time, but it's still so easily lost. And if it's easy for me to lose, I feel like it's for those who are less, this is less of a common thing to do in their daily practice. It might even be more hard. More of a challenge to maintain that visualization. So if you find yourself focusing on the rib cage, or you find yourself focusing on the muscle and lifting up, take a moment just to bring yourself back to the breath visualization. And then exhale and catalyze everything else after that. Catalyze all the musculature after you visualize that breath. And then if you're focused on the musculature at the end of that moment, take a moment and visualize the breath. See the color visualization, and then add the musculature and the bone. And then go back to the breath, see the color, and then go back to the musculature and bone. And when you go back and forth, over time, they'll start to integrate and overlap and become one thing. It's just so important. And I do recommend this approach to all of the training, all of it. There's really never a moment where I would say breath work and visualization come second. There are, even when the Grandmaster William C.C. Chan's reverse breathing, a lot of times would have the visualizing the end game first, and meaning that you know the shape and posture you're going to, so that's the first thing you're seeing. But the color comes into the body as you extend into it. The idea and the visualization are the strongest, and then the body follows into that. So versus the color visualization first whipping through the body, pushing to the point, you're already at the point and the body fills the space in between the point and you. Those are two different approaches, going from the body to the point or going from the point and filling the body into the space. Two very different mechanics, mentally, physically, but they're so subtle that a lot can be lost if you're not aware of what you're doing or what you're looking at when you see someone else do it. So that process is similar to taking those moments and saying, you know what, I'm done with this move physically, bring it back to the breath, the visualization, and now back to the physical. Take a moment, breath and visualization to the color, and just keep on cycling. Like I said, over time, it's gonna mold together, and it's gonna be great. And we'll finish up now with a few stretches. Inhaling up, uplifting hammer twice. Exhaling down. One more inhaling up. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. And we're going to inhale, open the hip. Exhale, put it down. Inhaling, open the hip. Exhale. And you can cover the head like a boxer here, fingers on the top of the forehead. And inhale and show the palms as you turn. Showing the palms as you turn. Exhale, cover. Show the palms. Exhale. Over time each side. Last one. And down. And inhale up. Even deeper reach. Exhale. Inhale, reach over. Reaching into the bottom and the top. Exhale. Inhale, reach over. Exhale. And now we're going to reach behind, inhaling over, it goes behind, like you're putting your hand in your own pocket, snaking down. Exhale, inhale, draw the collar to the belly. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Inhale deep, exhale down. And we're going to rub the hands together. Notice that I have adjusted the routine a bit just for today as I'm getting more acclimated to new movements in the body. So rubbing together and starting low and coming up the chest. And now the hands are going to come together, and on the left side, pushing the palms should feel like there's a spoon here. What I mean by that is that spoon visualization should be as clear as this stick is. And the stick, the visualization of the spoon, should be shooting through my body as I put both of my hands on my chest. So it should be shooting through the body. That's how clear you want the visualization. You're going to take this visualization and you're going to push it into the chest and the heart. And then you're going to figure it up and do it on the other side. So notice that I went around and now I figured it up, and now I'm going around the other side. Inhale deep, exhale, engage. As you exhale, you push that spoon visualization. Re-energize it. Inhale to the lower down chin, see the color gather. Exhale, re-energize that visualization with the spoon going into the chest. And it's split apart again. And floating rib up. 4 fingers on the sternum, tap up and down, chest, collarbone, the U shape either side of the collarbone. Looking up for the reproductive organs, relax all the way through reproductive organs. And strong pressure, collarbone to chin. The counterpoint, back of the neck. The hormones right here. And switch. 1, 2, 3. Middle finger on the heart, right above the lip. Heart meridian right here. Through the earlobes. And up, over, down, under. 2 fingers, pressure, very strong pressure. And off on the face to the side, up on the face to the side, up to the side, fingers to the scalp, front to back, back to front, front to back, back to front, front to back, back to front, massage, front to back, back to front. And tapping, front to back, back to front, hollow fist, gentle banging, front to back, back to front. Grab the scalp, knead it like that. 1, 2, 3. Next patch, next patch, and next patch, and reverse it. And massage. Front to back, and back to front again. Top of the forehead, massage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and reverse it. 4, 5, temples. 1, 2, 3, reverse it. Under the eyes, and reverse it. And flick the fingers out, thumbs, press and hold, and drill. 1, 2, 3. Tap. 1, 2, 3. Top and bottom, and sides. 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 Press and hold. And drill. 1, 2, 3. Tap. 1, 2. Top and bottom, and sides. Top and bottom, sides. Top and bottom, sides. Top and bottom, sides. Top and bottom. Next section. Drive the thumb up. I should press and hold right here. Massage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other side. Press and hold. Massage. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, and grab. 1, 2. Close the eyes. Inhale, right line to the belly. Spread to the whole body. Inhale, right leg up the front, from the toes to the top of the head. Exhale, roll down the heels. The head to the heels, down the back. Inhale up the left side. Exhale, roll down the right. Inhale to the belly, white line. Exhale, pushing down into the ground. I come back up and around like a fountain in reverse. One more, white line to the belly. Exhale, push it to the top of the head and surround the body. Come out like a fountain in all directions. Have gratitude for the body, space you're in, good people in your life. Thank you so much, guys. This is Tai Chi for the People. We are back in a different way. I'm going to keep on evolving this because I want to make sure that that folks get the most out of these. And so please give me notes, criticisms, etc., on how to make these sessions as good for you as possible. I do these longer classes like this with the intention of people watching the classes and having being able to have some semblance of a conversational experience, even though we're not in the same place. And that's why the comment section is there, and feel free to ask those questions or share thoughts or offer other alternative perspectives, because again, the theme of this channel is to consistently be aiding in the evolution of the art of Tai Chi. So I'm really grateful for you and your time and allowing me into your space and training with me. So I love you guys. Sam, thank you so much for joining. And I hope you have a wonderful week and a happy 2023 to all, and more good stuff coming soon. Love you. Thanks.